Okay, we're going to start bringing this full circle now. We're going to get into hotkeys or keyboard shortcuts. But before I do, just one last thing I want to touch on before I do that is the right mouse button. So this is totally customizable. I'm not going to get into it too much because it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really have any tricks or anything here that would help other than customize it to your liking. This here is my workstation, and one of the things I want to point out is I have three 24-inch monitors, and that's one of the reasons I really like using hotkeys or the X keys and buttons on the side of my mouse because of all the real estate I have. With this, I can have a lot of my planes open up, the levels, the construction plane, and tool paths, and then I have plenty of room left over for other things that I need to open up. So you can kind of see the layout where I have the X keys over here on the left hand side, my mouse over here on the right. One of the things, it's hard to see in here, but this portion right here is just a keyboard, just like it is on, or a number pad, just like it is on the keyboard over here. And people always ask me, well, why do you have a keyboard on the left side when you got one right here? And the reason is I try to keep my right hand on the mouse at all times. Not always, depending on what I'm doing, but usually when I'm doing input fields for tool paths, I'm double clicking in it, I'm punching in numbers and values with my left hand, and I actually have a tab key here so I can keep tabbing down, or I can mouse over and click right away wherever I need to go. So for me, it's faster. I can move my mouse as I'm typing to the next input block, and there's times where I use my right hand for this. You know, if I'm typing in letters and numbers, I just use the keyboard or the number pad on the keyboard. So I just want to show you this so you have a better idea on what's going on and why I'm kind of doing things the way I am. The keyboard shortcuts is the key for the programmable mouse and for the X keys as well as the 3D mouse. So like I had mentioned under the design, I don't have some common functions like create line, create arc, create rectangle, trimming functions, extending functions. I use those a lot. So I actually have those in my X keys, and it's really easy to set up any shortcut. So in this case, let's take, we'll take the fillet entities. I don't have a shortcut for that, but I'll create one for that. Show you how it's implemented. Simple as right mouse clicking on the ribbon bar, customize the ribbon, and then right here it's keyboard shortcuts, customize. So we'll click on this. Basically all the commands are right in here. The categories pretty much follows the tabs at the top. So in this case, I know that the default wireframe tab contains the fillet. So here's fillet entities. So I'll click on that. When I click on it, it doesn't show anything assigned to it yet. And I can put in any type of shortcut that I want using Control, Alt, and Shift. Any combination thereof, Control, Alt, Control, Shift, and a letter. So in this case, I am going to try Control, Alt, F, and it comes up, it's unassigned. So that means I can assign that. If it was assigned to something, you have the option to overwrite what's previously programmed and use that instead. I'm going to say assign, and now it shows you the current keys for that function. Close, hit OK. Now to put that into the X keys, I'll launch their program. It's really nice because they show you the layout of the keyboard and which buttons are used and which ones are not. I'm going to place it under this button, simple as a double click. Now when you get your macro window up, you have many options. You can type in text if you want. So let's say you have a really long email address or some type of text that you use all the time or type in all the time. You can put that in there, and every time you hit that button, and it will input that text. You can put keystrokes is what we're going to do. And then shortcuts can be to a file, directory. You can have it pull up in one of your internet browsers a certain website. You also have functions. Under functions, you have your F keys, you have game controllers, LED control, mouse buttons, mouse movement. You can actually specify where you want your mouse button at. Multimedia, OS functions. So like I said, with X keys, you're just limited to your imagination what you can do. So we'll go back to keystrokes. I'm going to put in, we use Control Alt F. It automatically puts your keyboard in there, or a shortcut that you had. Save. And I could close out of this. Create a rectangle, and I'll create another rectangle, hit OK. And hit fill it. Right away it takes me to it. Put it here, put it here. So you can see how this could be really helpful. Another thing you can add for shortcuts is for your tabs up here. So on my mouse, or my 3D mouse, I have one button that takes me to the design, another one takes me to my toolpath. So between hitting one or the other, I can bounce back and forth. And when I'm in any of these tabs, I can use any of these other shortcuts that I created. So for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to kind of run through some different functions and creating some geometry. Create line horizontal, let's say -1 inch. Sort of arrow to the right, plus 0.125. Put one up here at 1 inch, and then another one at arrow to the right, plus 0.125. And then I can hit vertical. Put that at 1 inch. Another one, arrow to the right, plus 0.125. Put one over here, minus 0.125. And then another one here, minus 0.5. I go right to trim two entities. Or I can quickly trim. I can go right to divide. I can divide this off and hit OK. So now I have this here. If I go to the toolpath, I can hit this button right here into my toolpath contour. Hit enter on my right mouse button that I have in my hotkeys there. We'll just hit OK, put default. Now I can hit post. I can overwrite it, and I'm done. So that's just kind of a quick demonstration. You're only limited by your imagination and what you can do with this type of stuff. You know, I believe that hotkeys would definitely help you speed up your workflow, whether it be through the X keys, through the 3D mouse, or the regular mouse. In this case, my mouse with the programmable buttons. So hopefully this could shed some light on some ideas for you and allowing you to speed up your workflow. Thank you.